Welcome back to our early access City Skylines 2 coverage, and in today's video we're going to try to cover the 10 starting maps, taking a look at each map in particular, what outside connections it has, what inside resources it has available as far as natural resources, and basically take a look at the lay of the land, if you will. One of the hardest decisions I face when starting a new City Skylines gameplay is figuring out which map I want to start on, and then ultimately where do I want to start kind of working my way with respect to industry locations, housing locations, and other resources. In City Skylines 2, we have 10 starting maps. We have the Archipelago Haven, Barrier Island, Great Highlands, Lakeland, Mountain Village, River Delta, Sweeping Plains, Twin Mountain, Waterway Pass, and Windy Fjords. The way this video will be set up is I will have timestamps down in the description below where we cover each particular map. So if there is one in particular you want to start out with, you can just check the timestamp down below and just kind of jump between all the various maps as you have interest. We're going to give a little bit of an overview of each particular map. We're going to load into each map, take a close look at the starting area, and then kind of zoom out and look at all of the possible buyable tiles. That way you can get a good overall look of the map. And then also take a look at where the groundwater resources are going to be located, as well as all the various other natural resources. Now, before we dive into any one particular map, I do want to talk a little bit about the differences between City Skylines 2 maps and City Skylines maps. With City Skylines, each player started out owning 9 buyable tiles, and then as you progressed through the game, you were able to unlock tiles, and each of those tiles with the base game had to be adjacent to an already owned tile. In total, the maps were approximately 2 kilometers square and had a total playing area of 92 kilometers squared, but had a maximum building area of 33 kilometers square. In City Skylines 2, things are a little bit different. Each building tile is approximately 1/3 smaller than in City Skylines, but we have far more tiles available to us. In fact, each map has a total of 529 buyable tiles. They are laid out in a grid of 23 by 23. And you have the ability to purchase up to 432 of those buyable tiles. And in addition to the differences in tile sizes, in City Skylines 2, the tiles do not have to be adjacent. So you can buy a pocket of tiles in one part, buy a pocket of tiles in another part, and connect those with roads and or other forms of transportation. Let's take a look at the Archipelago Haven. This map includes a cluster of islands with a chain of smaller and bigger islands surrounded by water on all sides. The map includes atolls, lagoons, peninsulas, and cays, which are small, low elevation land formations. Your city will have easy access to outside connections via highway, train tracks, ship routes, and airways, with highways going across the map connecting the 2 main islands. This map includes a starting European theme, has mild weather between 46 and 86 degrees Fahrenheit on average. It is planned to be set in the northern hemisphere and has 60% buildable area. As the description mentioned, we have roads, trains, boats, as well as airplane access to outside areas. And for natural resources, we've got a fair bit of farming land, a decent amount of forestry land, not a whole lot with respect to mining, and a good amount of oil. This is what the starting point looks like on Archipelago Haven. As you see, we've got really good access to highways. And if we rotate around a little bit, you're going to see we have a little bit of an extension to the island of where we start. And if we zoom on further out, we're going to be able to take a closer look at all of these various lands. Let's go ahead and see all of the buildable zones in their entirety and how they lay out according to each other. Of course, this is where we start out. far as groundwater goes, so we have groundwater on many of the islands that we're going to be able to build on, as well as, of course, open access to water. And then industry. We have our farming industry, our forestry, our mining, and our oil access. Take a closer look at each particular island here within the building areas. Follow the winding interstate. It's already established to connect many of these islands. And that is Archipelago Haven. Barrier Island is inspired by barrier island formations. This map features long island chains parallel to the mainland separated by a bay. The islands are mostly flat, which allows to easily build a city, and while the highway and train tracks run across the mainland, you'll have easy access to seaways as well as starting tiles placed on the barrier island. Flat islands also make up building an airport easy to let the city benefit from airway connections as well. Now, this is a North American theme map by default with temperatures in the 50 to 84 Fahrenheit range. It is planned for the southern hemisphere and has 41% buildable area. We have road, train, boat, and air connections. And then as far as natural resources go, we have a fair bit of farming land, a modest amount of forestry, a large amount of mining operations, and a little bit of oil. This is what our starting area looks like for Barrier Island. See, we have highway bridge coming across to our buildable land, and this is fairly flat buildable land to start out with. We zoom out, we can see our 9 starting grid and then all of the other buildable tiles that are associated with that. We have 2 main islands here. Then we have the mainland as well. A little bit of an island also off to the side. And being able to have non-connecting tiles really can introduce a lot of different design elements here. Take a look at as far as access to our groundwater. Then access to our various industries. Agricultural land. Mining. Forestry. Not a lot of forestry on the starting barrier island, that's for sure. You're going to want to do a lot of your forestry here on the mainland. And then oil. The Great Highlands map. This map draws inspiration from the Highlands region located in Scotland. Mountain ranges dominate the region, but the area also includes long, narrow, and deep lakes typically known as lochs. The highways and train tracks run between the mountains and along the coast. You can find a few scattered rocky islands and formidable cliffs along with the access to the seaways. So this is a European-inspired map with a climate of 27 to 66 Fahrenheit temperatures, so a bit cooler than the previous two maps that we've taken a look at. Northern Hemisphere is the location for this map, and we have 41% once again as far as buildable area. We have all of our major outside connections in roadways, trains, boats, and airplanes. And as far as natural resources go, fair bit of farming, not a whole lot of forestry, kind of low on the list as far as forestry goes. Modest mining operation and a fair bit of oil. The Great Highlands starting area has a pretty good interstate access here to a circle, roundabout, if you will, depending on where you are from. Taking a look at the total map playable area. See, we have the map kind of separated up in 3 distinct river areas. We take a look at our groundwater for the starting area and areas around, a fair bit of groundwater access for sure. And then industry-wise, agriculture. Got a bit of agriculture here in the starting area. Not a lot. Forestry. Some patches over here, predominantly. Mining. And then oil. The Lakeland map is inspired by the Finnish Lakeland region. It provides lots of calm water and numerous lakes and similar shapes and similar smaller islands. The landscape holds plenty of green area and forests and flat areas with a few rolling hills to provide a great foundation for any city with a Northern European look and atmosphere. So clearly, as the description goes on, this is intended as a European-themed map with pretty cold winters, with temperatures ranging between 5 and 78 degrees Fahrenheit. Northern Hemisphere latitude, 49% buildable area. And here we have outside connections that consist of road, train, or air. We do not have any seaway connections. And then as far as natural resources go, a fair bit of farming, fair bit of forestry, as one might expect. Then we have not a whole lot of mining operation, and a decent amount of oil is also available on this map. As far as our starting area, we come off of a bridge into a roundabout, and then an interesting already established road network. Might be able to get some folks going if they have a hard time figuring out where and how they wish to start the roads. You can see we have some snow-capped hilltops or mountaintops just off beyond our starting area. We take a look at all of the buildable areas. See what we have going on here. The main interstate crossing through this area. We've got then a train connection. Appears to be going this way. And then the interstate going off that way as well. Taking a look at our groundwater. We're going to have very good access to water, both ground and open water. Agriculture. Good little bit of starting agriculture here on our starting area as well. Forestry is going to be all over on this map. Nice little corner mining right here, also in the starting area. And then oil. No oil in the starting area. And then a very, very small patch right there. If you're going to do oil, you're going to have to go outside the beginning area. But overall, pretty interesting starting area. You see one building out really a nice metropolis here. The mountain village map is taking inspiration from small cities located along the Alps mountain range. This map brings converging rivers flowing across the map and gentle slopes stretching from the mountain's base. This creates a broad valley divided by large rivers where you can build a glorious city between the snow-capped mountain peaks. This is going to be a European-inspired map with a climate of 11 degrees to 81 degrees Fahrenheit in the northern hemisphere, 21% of the buildable area, and we have outside connections in roadway, train, and air. As far as our natural resources go, this map has, I believe, the least amount of farming agricultural land as we have seen to date. Fair bit of forestry is going to be available, and a decent amount of mining as well, with a modest amount of oil. As far as the mountain village starting area, we have one main highway coming in to a roundabout and then a little leg off to the side. Decent amount of forestry in this starting area for sure. We also have a train connection in that starting area, and then we have our outside power. Taking a look at the total building area, we can go way up here into the Highlands, these mountaintops. Some really interesting builds can be happening here. Taking a look at our groundwater. And then our industry, our agriculture, predominantly along the river valley. Fairly logical there. Forestry, again along the river valley. Mining, starting to get a bit more towards the slopes. And then oil. Good bit of oil actually here is in the starting area. That might be a good industry to start out with. And a good little hunk of agriculture there as well. The river delta map features a long curving river flowing down a gentle slope, breaking into a delta before eventually flowing into the sea. The river is guided by the hills on the edge of the map, which leave a plenitude of flat terrain to build a city. Expanding into the delta allows for great access to the seaways and creation of interesting island neighborhoods. This map is going to have a base European theme, 26 to 94 degrees Fahrenheit temperatures. So the hottest map that we've seen so far. This map is based in the northern hemisphere. And then we have 42% of it buildable area. We have all of the major connections in road, train, sea, and air. And then as far as natural resources go, decent amount of farming, very good amount of forestry, modest amount, okay amount of mining operation, and a decent amount of oil production is also going to be available here. The river delting starter area here includes a bit of ocean shoreline. As you can see, we have a passenger ship connection right there. Then lots of options as far as where we're going to be building, as we have an interstate that traverses almost diagonally through the starting area. And we start out with a bit of a grid already pre-placed. Taking a look at the total river delta buildable area, we have the winding river starting up here in the north, making its way down. Our buildable area starting zone is kind of right here down toward the river's mouth and the beginning of the delta and all the various little islands that are associated with that. Looking at our groundwater, a couple of decent patches right here in our starting area. Industry, we have agriculture, forestry, mining, and oil drilling. With a good bit of the oil drilling going to be done right here through this area. A lot of ship traffic, both cargo ships and passenger ships coming through here. And then this is where we saw all that oil through here. The sweeping plains, inspired by New Zealand's Canterbury Plains, this map features a broad expanse of flat land covered by grassland ready for development. This map has access to a wide coastline, and on the opposite side of the map, a mountain range creates a marvelous landscape. The plains in the central part of the map provide a great place to build any city. So this is a North American themed map with temperatures between 27 and 74 degrees Fahrenheit. Its latitude, though, interesting enough, is the southern hemisphere, has 31% buildable area. We have all of our major connections in road, train, sea, and air. Then we have maybe the smallest amount of actual agricultural land reserved here, a medium amount of forestry, a good bit of mining operations, and a modest amount of oil drilling as well. Here we have the starting area for the sweeping plains, a road that's coming in kind of just off at an angle. Let's take a look at the entirety of the building areas. Got a decent amount of the map is up here in the mountain region. Then we do have some waterways, a fair bit of coastline, and one island located right there. Looking at our groundwater, a couple pockets of groundwater right there in our starting area. Groundwater scattered throughout the entirety. Shouldn't be too hard to provide water to any interior little towns or city areas. As far as agriculture goes, we have a little pocket of agriculture here in our starting grid. Most of the agriculture is going to be in a band through the flat plains. Forestry as well, very very similar to where the arable farmland is going to be at. Our mining operations, then our oil resources, not quite in our starting grid but very close to our starting grid, is a decent little pocket of oil there. The Twin Mountains map draws inspiration from Iceland's coastline and the iconic cliffs. You'll find two separate flat-topped, steep-sided mountain formations. A small river runs across the map down the slope towards the ocean. Along the coastlines are numerous cliffs and hidden beaches with good access to seaways and shipping routes. The map does feature an existing train track, so expanding to the edge of the map is essential if you wish to create one. But you can also, of course, still provide your city with train infrastructure without an outside connection if that suits your fancy. So the Twin Mountain is a European-inspired map. Temperatures ranging from 25 to 59 degrees Fahrenheit. So kind of a cooler map set in the Northern Hemisphere. 39% buildable area. We have road connections. We have sea connections and air connections. It does make mention in the description that I read about a train line running across the edge of the map, but it's not listed here as far as an outside connection. We have one of the least amount of agricultural resources available, a very small amount of forestry also being available, and a small amount of mining with a fair bit of oil listed here. So I feel that this is going to be kind of a heavy oil production map if this is what you're going to choose. Twin Mountain starting area starts out here right along the river in the flats. Snow-top mountains on either side. Then we have our ocean access. Zooming out to all of the buildable tiles. Do have some areas that we can build up here on the mountaintops. A couple islands also that we can reach out to. Let's take a look at our groundwater. Good pockets of groundwater. Our industry. A little corner of our starting area has some agricultural land. Not a lot of trees. That is not going to be a heavy industry you're playing here on Twin Mountain. Mining operation. You have a little pocket of mining area there. Good bit of pocket up here along the mountain edge. And then oil production. Again, no oil in the immediate vicinity of our starting area, but over here we have a very nice pocket. So we can easily expand over there once we reach certain milestones. All of these areas really do make it somewhat difficult to figure out which one do I want to start on. With the Waterway Pass, we have two colossal mountain ranges. Create natural map borders on two sides, while the playable area is split by a meandering river across the whole map with train tracks and highways on either side, providing easy and quick access to outside connections, and a wide riverbanks leave lots of rooms for a growing city. So this is a North American themed map at the start, but on all of these, you can change the theme when you load in to start your gameplay. Climate is 23 degrees Fahrenheit to 96 degrees Fahrenheit. So pretty warm summers, a little cool winters. This is set in the Northern Hemisphere, and 53% of the land is buildable area. We have all the major outside connections in road, train, sea, and air. And then as far as natural resources go, a good amount of agriculture. We have a decent amount of forestry going on here. Not a whole lot, but an okay amount of mining, and then an okay amount of oil production. Waterway Pass starts with the Olive Highway coming in here into Pearl Street. A fair bit of this starting area is the river. So you can already have kind of a town here, bridge over to some forestry industry, and then maybe, hopefully, This is agriculture over here. We do have a bridge that's kind of pre-placed that we can make use of, a nice covered bridge. Connect that road into, hopefully. Taking a look at the total buildable area. We have buildable tiles up on either side of these mountain ranges, and then the meandering river coming through the valley. But overall, the buildable area is going to be a wonderful, wonderful valley setup. Let's take a look at our groundwater. We have some groundwater in our starting area, as well as, of course, open access to water. As one would expect, a fair bit of groundwater along the river. Industry goes, we do indeed have a few patches of agriculture in this starting area, not over here where I was first speculating. Forestry. Mining. And then oil. So some pretty small pockets of oil. The first one being adjacent to our starting area, but not actually within our starting area. We already have a interesting train yard here. Not too far from our starting area land. Have you made a selection yet? We only have one more to go. And then our final option as far as one of the 10 base maps is Windy Fjords. This is a map inspired by breathtaking fjord coastline formations. The map has several long and narrow inlets surrounded by steep cliffs. Each inlet ends in a small bay and starts from one sea edge of the map, following a similar pattern. Nestled between the mountains is a quite large buildable area with the possibility of accessing the top of the fjords via narrow slopes. This is a North American inspired map. Temperatures range between 21 and 65 degrees Fahrenheit, and it is set in the southern hemisphere. 21% of the map is buildable, and we have all of our standard connections in road, train, sea, and air. Then we have maybe the least amount of agricultural land available. A very large amount of forestry is going to be available here, and then a small amount of mining, and then a decent amount of oil production is also available. The starting area, we've got a roundabout, traffic circle, however you want to call it. A little bit of a loop in the road. Very interesting starting area for sure. Take a look at our total buildable area. Our groundwater. And then our industries. Agriculture. Good bit of this starting area is agriculture. Great for a starting. We have another big pocket of agriculture. Forestry. Mining operations. As far as our starting area, some mining operations here on this hillside. just down from our starting area. And then oil production. Got a little bit of oil here. Got some oil pocket right there. Oil pockets there. Some more oil pockets, but not a lot. Either that or the pockets that we do have contain a fair bit of oil resources in them. So of the 10 starting maps, which one are you going to start on? Hopefully this video was useful and helpful in letting you figure out where you want to start, how you want to start, and maybe get you going in your initial City Skylines 2 adventures. Let me know your comments down below as far as which map you have ultimately selected and how are you going to basically build that out. Look at all that forestry. Definitely a prime map here if you are looking to do heavy forested industry. Be sure to hit that subscribe button and click that notification bell because we're going to be having more City Skylines content coming to the channel very, very soon. And also, if you're not a member over at my main channel, Farmer Klein, go ahead and check that. I'll have that linked also down in the description below. That channel is where we're going to be focusing primarily on our farm sim content, and the FK Funhouse channel, this channel you're watching right now, is going to focus on our other gaming content like City Skylines 2. Until next time, happy gaming.